So we're just having a couple of people coming in by the looks of it. So yeah, we'll just wait another minute or so before we start. But I think most people in the live session with me now have been with me before. So you know that the kind of modern mindfulness approach that I teach is very much about bringing balance to our daily lives. And so we're doing some practices today that are also about just trying to bring that balance. How does the start of the week look? We ended, if you was with us or you've watched a recording from before, on the Friday of sort of how do we let things go from the week? How do we stay mindful of the things we need to carry over? But also then how do we just allow the weekend to come without work issues and hassles filling that space up? And so this idea of sort of recognizing patterns, whether it be daily patterns, weekly patterns, monthly, yearly, those kind of, I often call them seasons, to notice our own rhythms within that and to work with them is often, when I'm working with clients one-to-one, that's one of the first things that we do is to get them to be aware of their own rhythms of life. Some of those rhythms they might want to change. They might have some unhealthy rhythms, or they might want to make a positive change in some aspects. But most of the time, it's about recognizing our own rhythms and then swimming with that tide rather than against it, and just making little changes where we need to, just to make sure we're headed in the direction we want to. So start of the week on Monday, we'll work on a bit of techniques to do that. I don't know about you, but also already on this Monday, it's been a case of looking at what's coming ahead, doing a lot of scheduling, a lot of sorting, a lot of agenda making, of list making, of contacting people. So it's very easy at the start of a week to sort of get into that. And of course, the brain loves that. The mind loves that. It's very good at doing those kind of things. But if we don't keep a check on it, it can sort of get carried away and sully the balance that we want. We've lost. And so some techniques just to make sure that we are knowing where we're going and we're setting ourselves in a course, a direction that we want to go in. But if you remember, the modern mindful approach is very much about building capacity and resilience and adaptability to the new moment that comes that we can't plan for because we don't know it's coming yet. So always at the start of a week, I like to do a little bit of work before my brain sort of runs away with itself. A little bit of work of just grounding, of just being, but of sort of creating the space to allow new moments to come and to give them the attention they deserve, no more or less, but just the moments as they come, but then to let them go as well. And if you're new to mindfulness at all, which I know none of you aren't, but there's some people who are either with us or certainly listen on the recording that may be newer to mindfulness. Modern mindfulness really says that in order to get the best out of these techniques that we're learning through mindfulness, it's best to practice them on sort of random, everyday, less important moments. If the first time we try these techniques is in a big, emotional, meaningful moment, then we're not going to have the capacity there. So we practice them sort of as we do together here, just on things that are coming up everyday moment now, and they're not going to be particularly meaningful to us. But the more we can point the mind at them, the more we can give them our awareness and attention in a non-judgmental way, in an accepting way, then the more we can give the same kind of approach to those bigger moments in life too. Often people will come to me and they'll say, I want to use this in a particular situation. I've got something coming up. Usually if I work with sports players, for example, so I've got a tournament coming up or an event coming up, I want to use this. And it's really important. So I say, okay, great. So, but we've got to build up to using it in that moment. There's a lot of sort of work, just like you would if you were doing a marathon. There's a lot of training work that needs to be done. So we'll continue with some of that today. We'll use just some everyday moments that are coming up around us. But the idea today will be to slow the mind, body, and emotions down as we always do. So in the Buddhist mindfulness, that's that process of samatha. In the modern mindfulness, the psychological language for that is restful alertness. So just slowing everything down, taking some space and time, being present-minded. But then we're going to do a little bit of work today, which is about saying, okay, how do we allow ourselves to deal with the moments that come up that are unexpected? How do we give them the attention they deserve, no more or less? And just allow that extra resilience to be in us, that extra capacity to be in us. Because if we let the mind go away with itself, it would be full already. And that's when people reach that stress point, that breakdown point, when we don't feel we can actually take anything else on that we didn't plan for. So a little bit of work on that today. Nothing dissimilar to what we've done before as well. So wherever you are, if you want to just make yourself nice and relaxed and comfortable, just happy in your personal space, whatever that looks like for you. I'm going to declutter a few things on my desk. I used to have a little sign when I was a teacher in a school that said, a decluttered desk is a decluttered mind. And I try to live by that as much as I can. But those that know me do know I'm very much a minimalist. So it's not for everybody. Certainly for myself, I do like to declutter a little bit. And that's kind of what we'll do in the mind too. So to begin today, just as kind of the mind's been racing away, so I want to try to just draw it back to the moment, and it's been thinking about things outside of myself. So I'm going to use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique again, which is good when your mind's busy outwards, just to draw it back in as well. So I'm going to ask you to focus on some different things before we get to the one. And the one today is just going to be the breath, just your natural breath is the one thing we need to notice at that point. We'll switch it around a little bit as well. But the first one, 5, is going to be sights again. So let's start with the eyes open. Then when we get to number 4, we can close the eyes and we'll just start to feel things and move inwards a little bit more too. So wherever you are right now, let's just take a few moments to notice 5 different things we can see. Might be 5 colors, 5 shapes, 5 objects, whatever you want it to be. But in your environment around you now, what's 5 things you can see? And then if you'd like to close your eyes, let's next notice, please, 4 parts of the body right now. Anywhere at all will do. But just point your mind at 4 different parts of the body. And notice where your mind goes when you're doing this. It might go to somewhere that's more comfortable. Your awareness of that, okay, that's nice, we'll leave that alone. Or it might go to somewhere that's less comfortable, more tense. Maybe you didn't notice it before, but now you have noticed it. Try to release that tension too. Maybe it goes somewhere warmer or cooler. Just notice what draws the mind in the body. And then we're at number 3, please. So 3 textures you can feel right now. So I'm just going to use the hands and just notice the desk first. The microphone looks smooth and shiny, so I'll notice that. And then for me, it's going to be clothing. Whatever it is for you is fine too. We're just noticing now. Then we're into 2. So let's just notice 2 sounds we can hear right now. Maybe the loudest sound you can hear. I've got some loud birds in the garden at the moment. Let's try to push the awareness to the most quietest sound we can hear. And then we're down to number 1. And the one thing I want you to notice right now and for the next few moments is simply our natural breath rhythm. Try not to change the rhythm for now. Let's just notice the way the body is breathing all by itself without the mind's interference right now. We can notice and accept the pace of the breath and the depth of the breath too. And the way the body is moving with the breath as we notice our natural rhythm of being right now. And remember, if you like to sit with the natural breath, then by all means do that. It's easier for the mind to wander with the natural breath, which is why there's lots of different breath techniques to use. I teach the one called the mindful breath, which is this much deeper, more rhythmical breath, around 4 or 5 seconds on the in-breath and 4 or 5 seconds on the out-breath. But if you want to use the natural one, or you've used another breath in anything else you've done, yoga or anything else, please do so. Let's just find a breath that we want to use for the rest of this short meditation we're doing. Try to focus upon the breath, use it as a mantra. Mantra is anything we point the mind at, so there's less room for it to wander and worry. As we're settling into this new rhythm we've found, let's try to let go of those things we might have been doing already today, setting agendas, making to-do lists, scheduling things in. Let's try to park all of that. We can pick it up again this afternoon if we need to. Many people's work involves analysing and commentating and judging and evaluating things. Again, the mind loves to do that, but it can easily get carried away with itself. So let's try to park all of those thoughts too. Instead, right now, we can have an attitude of acceptance, of non-judgment. And particularly in a moment, we'll work hard on this concept of gentle curiosity. How do we notice things around us and have the space in ourselves to give them some attention and then to let them go again as well? But before we do that, let's just make sure we're releasing any tension in the body, because that has a tendency to fill any space when we calm the mind down. So let's just scan the lower half of the body, please. If you do notice any area that's a bit tense, spend a few breaths, particularly using the out breath as the release breath. Let's try to let go of any tension. Relax the lower half of the body as much as we can. of course, we can move to the upper half of the body, paying particular attention to the shoulders and the back of the neck as well. See if we can release any tension that may have stored up here already from the day. And then it's resting the awareness on the forehead, please. Just trying to breathe away any lingering headache, worry, or tension we might find. And here it's important, try to relax the facial muscles, letting go of any frowning or grimacing we might be doing. And from here, we'll move into this capacity building activity, resilience building. We may have planned for moments today or this week. How do we keep some space in ourselves to deal with the things that we can't plan for? They're unexpected, they're organic, they're emergent moments. Again, we can practice on less important things now so that we're building up the strength for when more important things come up. And for this, all we're going to do is just to keep focusing on different things as they arise. I'll sort of guide you every 30 seconds or so to notice something new. Imagine it almost like we have a glass in front of us that's empty. We've got lots of different flavors of drinks maybe. And every 30 seconds, we'll just grab another flavor, fill the glass up, taste it, notice it, and then pour the rest out, ready to fill it again with something new. But it's the emptying of the glass that gives us the capacity, gives us the space. And to empty the glass, let's just focus upon the breath and nothing else. So whatever breath rhythm you're using, just notice it once more. Its pace, its depth, and the way it's moving the body. What I'd like to do now, please, is firstly notice something again outside of you. Maybe sound, maybe texture. Something external to yourself. Try to give your full attention to it, noticing the features of it. And then let's let go of that awareness, coming back to the breath, pouring out the glass if you like, emptying it once more, just settling upon the breath for a few moments. Now we've got some space and capacity to notice a new emergent sensation too. And this time let's use the body. So I want you to notice your body, please, and just let your mind be drawn to wherever it is in the body. Whether it's a relaxed part, an uncomfortable part, a hot or cold, whatever it is. And just spend some time noticing that sensation without judgment, without commentary, but just noticing it gently. Now, if you've noticed a part of the body that's relaxed or you're happy with, just let it be. But if you've noticed somewhere that's uncomfortable or that could do with a bit of a positive change, let's take that change now using the out breath. Or it might really need to shuffle. Whatever you need to do, that's the second step of mindfulness. The first is to be aware of now. The second then is to try to bring a positive change. Then back to the breath, we can pour out the bodily sensations, just letting go of those. Coming back to the breath, that's our grounding, our anchor point, our connection with each present moment. So we'll just stay there for a moment. And then we'll do a couple of more just to finish off the holistic approach of mindfulness. This next one, please, let's fill the glass with our own thoughts. So just notice the mind, like we did the body, and just see where your mind is drawn to right now. Whatever thought comes up, might be one, might be many, might be none. Try not to respond to the thought, but just gently notice it. Have a look at it. See its features. And now let's do something with that thought. So if it's a thought that you want to continue after we've finished this practice, just try to park it. The fact that we've had a look at it will mean it will be there for you later on. If it's a random thought, though, a thought we don't really need to be bothering about right now, try to release it with the out breaths. Tell yourself we don't need to give that thought any more energy. Imagine you're pouring it out of that glass, creating the space that we want for future moments. And then coming back to the breath, please, grounding ourselves once more. Notice the thought might want to come and invade this space. Really focus upon the breath, how it sounds, how it feels, and how it's moving the body. So we've done body, we've done mind. The final one we'll do to complete the holistic approach is let's notice how we're feeling right now. Not how the mind thinks we're feeling, but beneath that, how we actually are right now. Again, try not to respond or commentate. Or simply know and feel your emotional state. And if you're happy with your emotional state, again, the positive change we can bring is to leave it alone or even let it grow. If you notice in yourself a feeling that you don't want, again, we're back to bringing a positive change. And often our feelings follow our thoughts. So a positive thought can bring a positive emotion. Or if that's too big a stretch, just a neutral thought can bring a neutral emotion. Let's bring all of this together now. Let's notice ourselves as we're sitting here, mind, body, and emotion. Let's just pour everything out. Let's empty ourselves in this moment, ready for the next moments that come today. The planned ones, the unplanned ones, the positive, the negative, and everything in between. At least we'll have the capacity to be in them as we want to, as much as we can. And then, of course, we're back to the breath, just noticing that breath once more. We're going to use it as we always do to bring the mind back to its waking state. So just connecting with the breath and taking a few slightly quicker breaths. So let's try to bring this capacity back out with us into the rest of the day. Opening the eyes, have a stretch, a shuffle, a drink, whatever you might need, your end. And coming out of the practice in your own time, ready for the rest of the day. Good, hope everything's okay your end. And just taking you through some techniques there to help us to accept and prepare for the fact that we can't plan for everything. That emergent moments will come and go, but actually that's the joy of mindfulness as well. That going with the flow of experience. But if the mind is full, or if I've got expectations, then that can often block these emergent moments. And sometimes we're missing the good ones, and sometimes we're not dealing with the things we have to. So nice little techniques there. Hope you enjoyed it. Good timing as well. It's just started to rain here, so you might be picking that up. Something else to listen to, of course. But I'll leave it running for a couple of minutes. Anybody that wants to chat away, ask any questions, please do. Thanks so much again for joining in. Hope it's okay your end. I'm just verbalizing my own practices. Hope you're following along. And we've got the rest of this week scheduled. So if you'd like to, I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much. Thanks, Graham. Oh, lovely. Brilliant. Harps. Yeah, nice one. So obviously building up a little bit on the foundational techniques that you're very used to. Not anything completely different, of course, but just little tweaks here and there, just using mindfulness for specific things, depending on the daily rhythm, the weekly rhythm. And that's really sort of as you go forward with mindfulness, that we spoke about it before, tailoring it, personalizing it is really, really powerful. Katrina, lovely. Thank you very much. Great. Well, thanks so much, guys. I'll do a bit of editing on this, then it'll be up for anybody else to join in on the recordings. And I'll be back here, same place, same time tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.